Want to make some money? Just throw an idol in your anime. I will always argue that the 1980s were objectively the greatest decade ever for anime, and no year perhaps illustrates that better than 1985. Megazone 23, Zeta Gundam, Angel's Egg. There was a lot to love in 1985, so it should come as no surprise to anyone that the otaku movement was growing larger and larger by the day. And you know what else was big in Japan in 1985? Idols. The 1980s to this day are considered the golden age for idols in Japan, and it's easy to see why with how many artists were debuting and how massively popular many of them were becoming. So of course there was a strong idol otaku scene growing in tandem with the anime scene. So naturally, these two scenes even crossed paths, and usually both were better for it. That being said, not every anime embraced this hot new trend, but that doesn't mean that they shouldn't have. And today we're going to take a look firsthand at one of those OVAs that could have benefited quite a bit from some idol love, because this anime really needed an idol. But what anime are we even looking at exactly? Well, today we're blasting off into the spacey world of CosmoPoliceJusty. Yes, I believe this anime could have used a little bit of help from an idol. Don't believe me? Well, here we go. But first, for those unaware, what is CosmoPoliceJusty about? Well, this quick little OVA that clocks in at just under 45 minutes is all about Justy, who's part of the Cosmo Police. Shocker, I know. You see, Justy is an Esper, and he's always using his Esper powers to save the day. And he lives with two sisters as well, one that his mom birthed and one that he adopted after he Espered her father too hard and ended him. That sounds kind of dirty when you say it out loud. Yeah, I guess he felt sorry for her, or he realized that he needs a best girl around at all times. Either way, she's here to stay, and this anime is better for it. So of course some bad guys decide it's finally time to end this justice spree that Justy has been on, so they decide to trap him and his adopted best girl sister, who also has a tendency to freak out and get dangerous. But an epic battle ensues, and by the end, justice prevails thanks to Justy. And everyone lives happily ever after. It's not a deep anime by any means, but it's a fun retrotastic ride for sure. The animation is pretty good, the music is straight up amazing, and overall the tone works so well for a project like this. So I'm sure you're wondering, if this anime is so okay to even great, why is it never brought up in conversations about classic anime from this era? Well, this anime does have a few glaring issues. First and foremost, the entire time I was watching this thing, it was impossible to avoid the fact that it felt very similar to another anime from that time, Macross. Yeah, it felt like, at times, it might have been borrowing too much from Macross, but also not quite enough at the same time. And it also felt like there was a lot of influence from Lock the Superman here, but Macross was the cultural behemoth of the time, so I feel the goal here was to make Macross 2.0. And I am very aware that Justy the manga existed before Macross was, well, Macross, but Justy the OVA came out after Macross was, well, Macross. So I wouldn't be surprised if the success of Macross is actually what helped turn this manga into an anime to begin with. So how are they so similar exactly? Well, just look at them. They look the same. Sure, Justy doesn't have mechs, but those character designs are just too similar to ignore. The outfits, the world they live in, space being present, it's all the same. And just look at those villains. They look like Dollar General's and Trotty members. It's crazy. However, despite all the Macross worship, there is one thing they failed to capitalize on. A true Lin Minmay knockoff. Yeah, sure, a lot of people watch Macross for the big mechs and space battles, but Lin Minmay was what truly turned the franchise into the everlasting fandom that it would become and continue to be to this day, because Lin Minmay was more than just an anime best girl. She was a cultural phenomenon. She was an idol, and as a result, this anime best girl turned her voice actress, Mary Ejima, into an idol as well, because it's true what they say. Everything Macross touches turns to gold. The weird combo of mech battles, love triangles, and idol culture is what took Macross to the next level, and guess what? Justy just couldn't connect those elements, which is crazy because they had a character ready to be Minmay Part 2. his adopted best girl sister, whatever her name was, but they didn't throw her into the role that she so easily could have and should have been thrown into. And it's not like her voice actress couldn't have done it. The girl was played by the legendary voice actress Mina Tominaga, who's been in about 1 million things, and also has released Idol songs, and even toured around those Idol songs she released as part of anime productions she worked on. They had the ability to make Justy huge just by copying one of the biggest media franchises of the time. But they left out one of the most important parts of said media franchise, the cute anime girl music. Sure, there were J-pop songs released in correlation with the show, including the amazing one that plays over the closing credits, but no one sang it in the show itself, so what was even the point? All of the music in this anime is great to this day, but they just need to connect the dots a bit more while they were making it. Maybe there wasn't a singing idol in the original manga, or maybe they just thought having Lin Minmay 2.0 would have been a little too much Macross worship, but she's so many people's favorite part of anything related to Macross. If you're gonna copy something, copy the right part. It doesn't matter if there wasn't an idol in the original manga, the anime needed an idol. I would actually say that most anime in the world would benefit from an idol inclusion even. Fist of the North Star was pretty good, but you know what would have made it even better? An idol. Violence Jack was a crazy nightmare that haunts many people to this very day, but you know what would have made it even more crazy? An idol. Legend of Overfiend sure was an anime that was shown, at least in part, once on VH1, but you know what would have made the whole thing work for VH1 even better? An idol. I think we're seeing a pattern here. And the crazy part is, this anime was created by Studio Pierrot, and guess what they released just a few years prior? Creamy Mommy, one of the greatest magical girl idol anime series ever created. And they weren't even technically done with that when this OVA came out, since they were still milking it for everything it was worth with spin-offs and music video collections. So the thing is, this studio knew the power of idols and the power they had to make things successful. Sad anime boys wanted to be with the idols, and sad anime girls wanted to be the idols. It's basic math. Any algebra class will teach you that on day one, so take notes now. So maybe they should have just taken things a step further and thrown Mommy herself into the Justy universe. They made a crossover with Mommy and Miki Momo, so why not? And why stop there? This studio had access to legendary anime best girls like Lum and Miss Machiko, so just throw them all in. And I get it, the studio also released Area 88 around the same time, so it seems like they were trying to diversify their palette, but could you imagine how much more legendary CosmoPoliceJusty would have been had it featured Lum, Mommy, and Miss Machiko singing a 12-song set with the adopted best girl, of course, because, you know, she is from the show, in space on a pirate ship full of cat backup dancers, with a surprise appearance from Miki Momo, and an even more surprising mech battle in the background that ends with a big firework display on the final chorus of the final song. This could have been the anime to define the 80s, or animation in general. Who cares about Daikon 4? We have CosmoPoliceJusty. But they didn't do that, now did they? Instead, they decided to throw their hopes and dreams away in favor of a more traditional approach, with some lead character with no emotions, some bad guys that aren't even that interesting, and a best girl that has never fully realized idol songs or not. It's just sad, really. I should have been there. I could have made these suggestions. I could have spent the money to do it. I could have ate some pretty good food while visiting Japan. I could have made a difference, but I wasn't born yet when this OVA was released, so I guess this thing was just doomed from the start from the lack of my actual involvement. Darn.
You